So there was a lot, and I mean a lot, shown off at yesterday's Tennocon. There was the infested open world, mech suits, new infested enemy units, the broken Warframe, Hydroid Deluxe, Hydroid Prime trailer, Zephyr Deluxe, and a lot more. So we got a few different videos to go through in order to cover everything, but I wanted to dedicate this video to one of our so-called upcoming Warframes. A new Warframe that's been in the community's eyes for a very long time now and is now set to become a reality. We've been told that he is one of 3 new Warframes that are set to be added to the game before Christmas, or before the end of the year. Broken Warframe is one of them, Alchemist Warframe is another, and then there is this one. Hey, what's up you beautiful feckers, how you all doing? So this is Wraith, a Warframe designed by Liger Inuzuka 3 years ago when he was originally designing Tennocon skins for Warframe. So I want to go over the original design, his passives, the abilities that Liger has set out for Wraith, as well as the alternate helmet and the Sayandana. Now I'm curious how much of these abilities will be changed or altered for when Wraith goes live, because some of the abilities sound very similar to existing abilities of some of our latest Warframes in game. So let's jump in and check out what Wraith is all about. So first off, Wraith's passive is called Psychopomp. Wraith will collect the souls of his slain enemies and then he uses them to power some of his abilities. So possibly a resource meter similar to Baruch's Restraint or Nidus's Stacks, but it also says that the souls he harvests add ghostly clothing to his appearance, so he will visually change depending on the amount of souls that Wraith consumes. Similar to, I guess, Nidus changing how he looks depending on the amount of stacks as well. So Wraith will need to keep killing in order to consume souls for certain abilities. That's his passive. Which leads us up to his first ability, which is called Reap. Now this one might sound very familiar if you're a Revenant player, Reeve, right? Reap will allow Wraith to dash forward, passing through the bodies of enemies as well as solid objects and damaging all in his path while exploding at your destination. Enemies not killed will be knocked down. Holding the ability down will allow you to have a controlled silent flight, which will drain your energy over time instead. Very similar, it sounds like, to Wukong's Cloud, but this one you can pass through doors and enemies, so it is similar to Reeve as well, except it explodes when the cast ends, damaging enemies like Reeve does as well, and you can change it to have a kind of Wukong Cloud aspect to it. So it seems like a combination of both of those abilities, but when you kill enemies with Reap, they will grant 1 soul per death. Now, next up is his Black Hole ability, the second ability. Wraith will place a dense mass of souls on the ground, slowing and pulling enemies into the centre of it. Enemies on the outside of that circle will be slowed down, but enemies at the very centre will be ragdolled, I guess like Vauban's Vortex, and it will collect and store buffs based on the enemy types that you kill inside that area of effect. So some of these buffs could increase your damage output, your heals, your shield, your energy over time, or even the souls that you can get off dead enemies, which I think will be squad wide in the area if all of your team are standing inside that black hole area, or, and this is kind of the cool part, or Black Hole can be worn by Wraith. Okay, so he can pick it up and he can wear it to gain the benefits of all of those buffs himself. I guess if you're running solo, that'd be really cool. He can also teleport to that black hole from a certain distance away. So he can wear it for the buffs and he can dash towards it like Wisp does with her reservoirs, where she can port towards them from far away. But his second ability is more or less a crowd control one that gives out buffs to your teammates or to yourself if you wear it, and it might also deal a decent amount of damage as well. Now that leads us up to his third ability, Tombstone. Now stop me if this one also sounds very similar to another ability in game, Protea's Rewind. Wraith will raise a stone monument, okay, a tombstone, a replica of himself at the cost of souls, I think. This records his time in place, while also the monument will give off an aura of fear, keeping enemies away from it, and recasting the ability will cause Wraith to respawn back where that tombstone is. So very much like Protea's ability, this will record your health at the time of you casting it, your energy, your ammo count, your soul count, and so on, and when you recast it, you will respawn at its location with the same amount of health, energy, ammo count, and so on as you had when you initially cast it. So it is a rewind ability, just one that fears enemies at the same time. And according to the notes that Liger has written down, if the range of this, I guess, Terrify ability for the Tombstone is larger than that of a Nullifier's bubble, then the Nullifier can't get close enough to the actual Tombstone to destroy it with the bubble, and he will get feared away as well. So it's kind of cool, a nice way to, I guess, to fight off Nullifiers, or you could just jump inside the bubble and shoot them in the head. Now that leaves us with his fourth and final ability, the Harvest. Sounds edgy, right? This whole frame is just edge personified. Harvest has two parts to it, okay, and it will function differently depending on how many souls your Wraith has, I guess, collected once you cast the ability. If you have above 50% souls, or if you are below 50% souls. Now, if Wraith is below 50% souls, then he can place a death mark on an area, okay, weakening enemies that get hit by that death mark and making them take increased critical damage from all of Wraith's abilities. Now, if Wraith is above 50% souls, then he will unleash his true form, an exalted ability that consumes all of your souls and makes it, I guess, duration based on the amount of souls that you had once you cast it. Now, if Wraith is above 50% souls when he casts Harvest, then he will unleash his true form, an exalted ability that consumes all of your souls and makes it a duration based on the amount of souls that you consumed when you cast it. All of his abilities are then empowered when this exalted form is active with increased range and damage. So his Reap and his Black Hole will deal more damage and have a larger area of effect. Black Hole could be great with this exalted form, an empowered black hole, but you can also place down empowered death marks when in your exalted form. So apparently the way this will work is if you tap his fourth ability, you will place down those death marks, and if you decide to hold down the ability, it will cast the Reaper form, his exalted ability, only if you're above 50% souls. So enemies then killed that are under the effect of a death mark will give you 2 souls per kill. Enemies killed by his Reaper form will give you 3 souls per kill. And then death marked enemies that are killed by the Reaper form will grant you 4 souls per kill. So if you cast his exalted ability and then run around marking enemies and then killing them, you will get 4 souls for every enemy that you kill, which could be a really fast way of keeping his passive topped off and maybe staying in that Reaper form for a much longer time. Because remember, you're going to need souls to keep that passive topped off. Casting his exalted ability also will knock down nearby enemies, so maybe if it's got a long cast, you won't take damage by nearby enemies because you're going to knock them over. Now we also have an idea of what his signature sidearm will be, his signature weapon, a wrist mounted sniper styled sidearm. This is it. It sits on top of Wraith's arm and it looks like it has 2 different fire modes, a normal fire mode and one that is attached to the reload. So reloading it seems to discard the cartridge or the stone slab as a projectile that can slow enemies down in an area of effect, and the amount of slow effect or the amount of damage it deals is going to be based off the amount of ammo that is left in that cartridge once you discard it. So more ammo in the cartridge, I guess more slow effect, more damage. Less ammo in the cartridge when you reload it and it discards it, then I guess there's going to be less of an effect. So it is a very interesting design for a sidearm, but also it is concept art like all of Wraith's design right now, so a lot of this can change. New abilities could be added in instead of the ones he has, or they could be tweaked, or something else could be changed, but we're just going to have to wait and see until I guess this is fully rendered and added into the game. Now this is the visual concept art for all of his abilities, and the purple claws on the left for that black hole pulling enemies in is really cool. Now the alternate helmet that is showed off on the art stream yesterday as well looks like this, and I'll be honest, I prefer the normal one, but that's just me. You can let me know what you think in the comments. And this is the cyan Dan that is showed off on the art stream yesterday as well, which also looks really cool. Definitely fits the design of Wraith, but again, I can't wait to see what everything attached to Wraith actually looks like once it is fully rendered and added into the game. Like I said, all of this is concept art and a lot of it is 3 years old, but they have mentioned that this frame will be added before the end of the year, which to me feels like they have a lot coming at us before the end of the year. So time will tell if he becomes a reality or if maybe he gets pushed back and delayed due to, I guess, the way of the world right now, the fact that there is so many people working from home and things are pretty bloody crazy. Now let me know what you think of Wraith, his design, his abilities. Will they change anything? What you think is similar to Warframe abilities already in the game, and if he's your kind of Warframe or not, based on the abilities that you have seen in today's video. Like the video or don't, subscribe or don't, and as always, thanks for watching.